How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, Will?
What up, what up?
Welcome, everybody, to Story of the Fight. My name is Ramiro. That's my boy, Will, and this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts. Hey, Will, this is one of my favorite episodes of the entire year.
So much fun.
So much fun. It's a predictions episode. Last week, we went through and we listened to our predictions from 2023, and hey, I was embarrassed. But that belt that you have right now belongs to me. I'm now the two-time champion. Okay, I held it during the inaugural year where we did that. You took it the next year. Now that belt's coming back to me.
Going back home or what?
Going back home, yeah. Hey, before we do get going, though, I did want to remind everybody that if this is your first time watching or listening, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Goes a long way. But if you hit that notification bell, you're alerted whenever we're doing predictions episodes, recap episodes, fight companions. You might be thinking like, man, I don't like watching these ugly mugs on YouTube. Where else can I listen?
Yeah, go to storyofthefight.com. It'll list all the links. But we're on Story of the Fight, Spotify, YouTube, obviously, Twitch, TikTok, Reddit, Instagram,
Socials,
everything. Story of the Fight on everything. Apple Podcasts. Shout out Keith. Said time to fire up the laptop. I saw for you guys awake yet. We made it.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody that's joining us, whether it's live. If you do join us live, it's so much fun because you can actually chat along with us as we're going through the live episode, whether it's a recap, predictions episode. But it makes the show so much better because we're able to bounce off of everybody else's input and ideas, right?
And also, we did last year, like Keith participated in, we want the fan picks also. So we're going to go through and predict who we think is going to end the year with the belt in every weight class. We want all of you guys to do the same thing. Last week, we tallied up the results from last year. And
right?
Shout out Regeneration Nation. He is going to be taking home a mini version of our belt for that. So
it's adorable.
Submit your picks.
It's a little baby belt.
It's fantastic.
You could strap it around your wrist if you want to.
Like a little wristwatch, yeah. But if you wanted that, go ahead, submit all your picks, put them in the comments of this this video, and we'll tally them up at the end of the year. And it's a ton of fun. And it's more fun the more people do it.
Yeah, for real. Dude, with that being said, let's go and get started.
Let's do it.
Your picks first, my picks first. How you want to do this?
I think the way the slideshow had to be ordered so that we don't know each other's picks, I'll have to be first on each of them. Yeah. So if we have the same pick, it's actually because you.
Paul should have discussed that before, huh?
I think we did.
Did we? I don't even remember, bro. Did we? Oh man.
Yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and start. We'll start with women's strawweight.
Women's strawweight.
So women's strawweight, we have Zhang Weili's probably taking on Yan Xiaonan, right? Is the rumor. There's rumblings that maybe she's going to fight Grasso at 300, but I doubt that happens. I think they'll probably do Yan Xiaonan versus Zhang Weili. I think Zhang Weili beats her pretty easily, no disrespect. And my pick is booked right now against Amanda Lemos on February 17th, and I think she beats Amanda Lemos, and I think she takes on the next championship bout, and that'll be Tatiana Suarez. And I think Tatiana Suarez beats Zhang Weili. I think it's time. I think it's finally time. It's been years.
That is a solid pick, Will. That's a solid pick. And, I'll tell you it's a solid pick because my pick to finish the year with the women's strawweight belt is none other than Miss Tatiana Suarez as well. That's also my pick. Look, I gave her a classy picture, Will. I don't know why you went with the hardcore picture, but
because it's an MMA show, and look at her choking out Andrade.
She also has class, and she will be able to maintain that class. She'll be a classy champion for us. Now,
I think she will be.
Amanda Lemos just fought for the belt, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the fact that she's fighting Amanda Lemos in UFC 298, as long as everybody stays healthy leading up to, lets me know that, hey, if she beats Lemos here, UFC, it's a very easy path to be able to say, okay, cool. She just beat the person that just fought for the belt, right? Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and toss Tatiana Suarez in there up against Miss Yan Xiaonan, and we'll go from there.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they'll do Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan, and then Zhang Weili's going to beat her, and
Whether
then
Zhang Weili, whether Yan Xiaonan, I don't care who has the belt. Tatiana Suarez is going to end with the belt at the end of the year.
yeah. George says, "Do we submit our picks at the end? You can put our picks. Yeah, like Keith just said. I think we can add our picks anytime in the live chat. Yeah, add your picks whenever. If you want to go 1 for 1 with us, as we just do women's strawweight, you can put your women's strawweight pick. You can put all your picks. If they're not ready yet, just go 1 by 1 or after the fact, whatever works. Whatever works." George says Suarez and Pesci, first MMA couple champions. Is that the first? Would that be the first? It's got to be, right?
I don't know. I look. If anybody would know, it'd be TMZ will. You know what I mean? So I don't know off the top of my head if we have any couple champions that have been out there in the past.
I think that would be it. Shadow Ganskow says Tatiana is totally my pick. I just think it makes sense. Like you said, barring any injuries or health issues or anything like that, I think a win over Lemos automatically gets her a title shot. Lemos is number 4 in the division. Tatiana is actually above her already, so I think they'll do. I don't think Carla Esparza is getting in the mix at all. I think the plan was to do Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan in China, and then that all fell through. So I think they're going to still try to do that. I think Zhang Weili maybe fights twice this year, and yeah, I think the second fight will be against Tatiana if she gets past Lemos, which I think is a terrible matchup for Lemos. So yeah, I think Tatiana takes it.
Love it. So both of us pick Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah. This better not be like last year where we differed on like 3 picks for all of the divisions.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see, man. Because up next we have the women's flyweight division. Who's your pick there?
Women's flyweight. I went. So what's booked right now? Is anything booked? I think they're probably. Doing Grasso versus Shevchenko 3 because the last one was a draw. I would think that they're going to do that. If they don't do that, I think, what is it? This is flyweight. I think Blanchfield is fighting Manon Fiorot, who's number 3 on Tapology at least. That's in March. I think Blanchfield beats Manon Fiorot, and I think Blanchfield gets a title shot, whether it's against Grasso or Shevchenko. If they do that fight, whoever wins that. But I think she beats either one at this point. I think Shevchenko's lost that invulnerability aura around her. And people think there's a chance, and sometimes divisions just need a little bit of hope, and that's what Alexa Grasso did.
There's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance? I'm going Aaron Blanchfield. I think if Grasso fights Shevchenko, either one who wins will be defending it against Blanchfield, and I think Blanchfield beats either of them if she gets past Manon Fiorot. Or
Manon Fiorot, by the way, is ranked 3rd on UFC rankings as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so like if you beat her, that's a title shot. The only hiccup would be if Shevchenko and Grasso fight and Shevchenko wins, and then they're like, they're 1-1-1. We got to do a 4th. And it's like, no, don't do it. So they might do that. And that would throw a wrench into my prediction. But what's your prediction?
Will, the last part that you just said played a huge part in my prediction. Great minds think alike. So I have Alexa Grasso finishing the year with the title, right? Because I think one of 2 things is going to happen. Either, look, another classy picture for a classy champion. See, well, these are the pictures that I'm picking, okay?
Yeah, they better be the pictures you're picking for the men's divisions too.
Not so much, but let me let me break this down for you. So I think we get another Grasso Shevchenko fight, right?
Yeah, I think that's the move.
And
right?
One of 2 things is going to happen. Either Alexa Grasso wins, and something tells me it's going to be a dog fight, right?
Yeah,
straight up dog fight. And she's going to take some time off. I think she's going to be an inactive champion this year, okay? Or Shevchenko wins the title. They give another fight, Shevchenko Grasso again, and Grasso ends up with the title again. But either way, I have a feeling that Grasso is going to end the year as a champion. And we're going to have the Blanchfields of the world sitting off to the side thinking like,
what do I do? Yeah.
What about me? Yeah, and we've seen that happen plenty of times in many divisions, right? Take a look at the lightweight division. Take a look at the featherweight division.
The welterweight division.
Yeah, it happens over and over and over again. So I feel like it's going to be something similar that's happening with the women's flyweight. So give me Alexa Grasso to end the year as a champion.
Look at that. Our first differential.
And she's good too, man. She's solid.
Oh yeah, she's very good. She's very good.
She's the number 1 pound for pound female fighter in the world right now.
Yeah.
At least in the rankings.
Alrighty, so we'll move on. Keith, I see you put the men's picks, so we'll go through yours as we do ours. And then Ganskow says Grasso versus Blanchfield if she beats Furo for the Mexican Independence card. I got Blanchfield.
Ooh,
let's go.
Mexican Independence card, dude. I like that. Why don't we have the fight in Mexico City?
Why? We have Vegas.
Look, think about that. Mexican Independence card, Mexico City. Dude, we throw on Alexa Grasso in there, right? We get Brandon Moreno in there. Dude,
well, that's the plan.
Screw it.
They got Yair
we'll take Tatiana Suarez too.
Right?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Shout out Chester says, "What up, boys? New to the channel. Saw you commenting on Nick Atkins' One podcast. Always on the hunt for shows that follow One as well. Even though the next time card is looking a bit bland. LOL. Hey, shout out Chester. Thanks for joining.
Shout out Chester, bro.
Episode,
and you're joining at a perfect time, Chester, because we're predicting the champions for 2024. Who's going to end the year with the belt for 2024 for every weight division. So feel free to hop on and start giving us your picks as well. Maybe you'll win the Story of the Fight mini belt for the year.
Yeah, the mini belt. But yeah, not much One coverage in this episode, but we definitely we do event reactions and fight rewatches and stuff with One. So you'll definitely see some One content from us. Ganskow says because we have the Sphere. Yeah, that's what they're planning to do, right? They're trying to do the Sphere for UFC Noche.
Yeah, I guess, dude. I don't know. I don't think it's the same.
Shouldn't it be Noche UFC?
Noche the UFC.
Is that what it is? How do they market it?
It's UFC Noche UFC.
It should be
UFC.
I
don't even remember.
I don't speak Spanish.
No, Noche the UFC is fine.
So Keith, he had Strawweight Tatiana Suarez as well, Flyweight Aaron Blanchfield. So me and Keith so far are on the same page, and Ganskow me as well. I think he went Suarez and Blanchfield as well. All right, we can move on to the best division in all of combat sports, women's bantamweight. We got right now the title is vacant.
Everybody tuning in right now is like, I don't care about anything else. I want to see who we're predicting for women's bantamweight in the UFC.
Yeah, the most important. This one was the one I struggled with the most, I think, picks wise. We got
like watching or
at one. We got Juliana Pena at number 1, right? She's injured, so they're doing a title fight. If you didn't realize, they're doing a title fight very soon between Rocky Pennington versus Mayra Bueno Silva. So that's the state of the division. I think Mayra Bueno Silva probably wins that fight. And I think if Juliana Pena comes back, they'll do that fight. I think she's getting a little long in the tooth. I don't think she wins that fight. And I think if they do the rematch, Grasso versus Shevchenko, I think Shevchenko loses and she finally moves up now that Amanda Nunes is not there. And I think Shevchenko beats anybody at the top of that division. If she gets a title shot, which is the biggest gamble of this pick, but I'm going Shevchenko.
Look, Will.
I know it's a big gamble that she even gets a title shot, but
I respect your pick, Will. Okay?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, the person that will finish champion at bantamweight is none other than Juliana Pena. Okay? Go back to my prediction from 2023. Look at that classy picture yet again. Another classy champion. Hey, Will, the next year you're going to be like, dude, let me just take care of all the pictures, okay? No, look. Go back to my prediction of 2023. And I specifically said, hey, in the rematch, Pena will lose the belt, okay, to Amanda Nunes. Nunes retires, and Juliana Pena comes back and wins the belt. That was my prediction. Yeah. I'm upset that Juliana Pena in the UFC took so long, okay, because that would have been another pick for me this last year, okay? But it's going to happen now. I don't care who fights for the belt, okay? When Juliana Pena comes back, she's got that wrestling pedigree that's too much for all the women in that division. I don't care who. Mayra Bueno Silva? No. Okay? Juliana Pena is going to come in there. She's going to dominate her with her wrestling. And it's not going to be the prettiest win in the world. You're going to see some ground and pound. Okay?
Wait, you think it's going to be a good win in You don't think he's gonna be a good
No,
win
dude.
women's bantamweight title
She's probably
shot?
going to be clinching her up against the fence, get some dirty boxing in, controlling her up against the cage. She's going to take Maida Bueno Silva down. She's going to land a little bit of ground and pound and win the round. Okay, but she's going to win by decision when Juliana Pena gets back. Okay, so just give her the belt now. Give her the
Yeah,
belt now.
I think this is the first pick that we like actually disagree with each other. I don't think Pena touches the belt or comes close to it this year.
I'm a
George says
Juliana
first
Pena
bold pick comes from
whisperer.
William. Keith has Myra will have the belt. Will yes, he went Myra Bonasilva. That's a
Ooh,
good pick. I
okay.
almost went that pick, but I don't. Maybe I should have, but I think Shevchenko, if she loses to Grasso, I think she doesn't stick because she's not going to stick around in that division if she goes 0-2-1 against Grasso. There's no way she stays there. I think she goes back up. It's just I don't know if she gets a title shot because Pena's going to come back and fight. Do I think that there's going to be 3 title
Look,
fights in women's bantamweight this year? Probably not. But if there is, I think Shevchenko's involved in the third one.
I wouldn't be surprised if Raquel Pennington ended up beating Maida Bueno Silva. And look,
Yeah.
we have let me just break down Maida Bueno Silva's last few fights, okay? She beat Yanan Wu by decision, okay? Stephanie Egger by armbar. All
That was
right.
hilarious, right? That was the one where she's like, I didn't tap. And it's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah. Lena Landsberg by knee bar, okay? And then Holly Holm overturned to a no contest.
Yeah, because she tested
Look,
positive for like Adderall or something, right? Or weed or something. It was something stupid, but she choked her out. But she did choke her out like early.
I'm just saying, I'm not super impressed with Maida Bueno Silva's resume. If you go back and you take a look at Raquel Pennington's, if you go back and you take a look at Juliana Pena's, they've been finding some of the more elite fighters in the division for quite some time. And yes, Juliana Pena a little bit longer in the tooth, but it also means, well, she has more experience. She's gone up against tougher competition. Like, no. Okay, time out. Holly Holm was like 60 years old, bro.
But she's got experience.
No, but she's 60, okay? Juliana Pena is not 60 years old.
She's 34, 35. She'll be probably 35 by the time she fights for the belt. I think Juliana Pena's style, I think she gets subbed by Bueno Silva. Ganskow says Pena as well.
Good call, though, because Juliana Pena's loss, I don't know if you remember. God, who was it, too? When she gets caught in a guillotine choke.
I don't remember.
Who was it against? And she was winning the fight up until she went for a takedown, left her neck in too long, and she gets choked out.
Yeah, she got subbed by Jermaine Ranime, dude.
That's right. And I believe that might have been her first submission in her career.
No.
For Ranime?
Jermaine, yeah. But Shevchenko also subbed Pena.
Yeah. So that's a good call, Will.
She's susceptible to submissions, dude.
Oh, my Lord.
George says, let's retire the division. Ganskow says he's got Pena. Keith says the thing that makes these picks hard is, will the fights actually happen in 2024? I think Gelton Almeida will beat Tom Aspinall, but I don't think that fight will happen in 2024. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing because you're like, yeah, this fight's happening early in the year. Title fight's happening in January. And then, so there's going to be at least probably 3 title fights in that division. And then they tear their pec and they don't do it. And they're trying to make a Stipe fight. And John Jones fights once in the year. And you're like, what the fuck? Can we get some movement, please?
Yeah, that's the tough part.
Toughest. It is the absolute toughest part, Keith.
Hey, George says, let's just retire the division. Maybe we give George like a half a point if it ends up being retired by the end of the year.
Yeah. Did he put? Let's find out what he puts his picks. He might pick because I think he picked that the featherweight division would be dissolved last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Got a full point for that.
All right.
But we
you want to move on to the men's flyweight?
Yeah, so far we've spent the most time on women's bantamweight. Who would have guessed, huh? But yeah, we'll start with men's flyweights. It's time. Ganskow says, what about women's featherweight? Women's featherweight was officially dissolved last year, so I don't think they're going to do it. Norma Dumont is the last featherweight, and she's fighting at bantamweight soon, so I just don't think it's going to happen. We got for the laughing emoji. All right, flyweight. Every year since we've been doing this, since 2020, I've been saying Manel Cap. He debuts in the UFC in the top 5. He fights. What was his debut? It was an insane debut because he came from Ryzen with my boys over there, and I was like, "Watch out! This guy's gonna take the UFC by storm." And he
I remember that.
debuts against Alexandre Pantoja. Have you heard of him? He loses a decision, 29-28. Then he fights Mateus Nicolau, who's ranked right now, and he gets absolutely robbed. Where every single media member gave the fight to Cap, they still didn't give him the fight, and they dropped him out of the top 5 because of that. And you're like, son of a bitch, what a derailment. And I've been picking Cap. Last year, I finally didn't pick him because I was like, he's too far now. They pushed him down the rankings so far. Since then, he got a flying knee knockout in round 1 against Ode Osborne.
Here we go.
He got a Dragon Ball Z combo standing TKO against Zumagulov in round 1. He beat David Dvorak in a decision. They booked him against Alex Perez. He pulled out. They booked him against Davison Figueiredo. He pulled out. They booked him against Kai Kara France. He pulled out. He fights Felipe Dos Santos on a short notice. He beats him in a fight of the year contender. And they book him back against Mateus Nicolau, who I think is ranked right now close to the top. He's ranked number 5. So Manel Cap is marching his way back. Whether they fight him or not, he's going to beat Nicolau again. He's going to actually get the result this time. And his next fight will be for the belt. And he will win that. And he will be the UFC champ by the end of 2024.
Will, I knew you were going to pick Manel Cap. I did. Coming into this, I'm typing up my stuff yesterday, and I thought, okay, so this is a lock. Will's picking Manel Cap. But you know what I say?
Dude.
I say Manel Cap, C-A-P, okay? Cap as in, it's a lie, it's not going to happen, all right? So let me tell you, we have Alexandre Pantoja, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here are my notes, okay? Here's a man that wants to make his dad proud. That's number 1, okay? That's a huge motivator. Number 2, he has Brandon Moreno's number. Unfortunately, I love Brandon Moreno. He's one of my favorite fighters, right? I don't see Brandon Moreno taking the belt from Alexandre Pantoja, okay?
Yeah, no.
He just beat Brandon Royval. Okay, so that's another one of the top guys within the division. We have Amir Albazi, who looks like a contender, but same thing. I take a look at Albazi's resume, right? He beat Kai Kara France by decision. Before that, he beat Alessandro Costa. Before that, he beat Figueiredo. And you're like, what? You beat Figueiredo? No. He didn't beat
Other one.
Davison Figueiredo.
Yeah.
No, he beat
Little Figgy.
Francisco Figueiredo.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, right?
No.
So he still has more to show for me.
And he's fighting Moreno, so he has the platform.
He does. But that's what I'm saying. Manel Cap. Okay? Not going to happen. Alexandre Pantoja stays in champion for the rest of this year. Give me Alexandre Pantoja. Yeah, hey, shout out Rich. Look, he's putting a little cap emoji on there. That's what I'm talking about. There we go.
Ganskow says, I have Makayev, beats Perez in United Arab Emirates, then gets a good high-rank win to earn a title shot at the end of the year and wins. I could see that because I think the UFC will try to push him, and that's a good shout that he'll get a title shot.
I like that too.
I don't
Ganskow, hey, that's good.
I don't think he beats Perez because I don't think Perez makes it to the fight. That's my bold prediction. If you look at Perez's resume, the amount of times he has pulled out of fights is absolutely insane. But I think, I think Albazi, if he gets past Moreno, he's going to get a title shot. I think he'll get a title shot over Manel Cap, right? But I think he fights so slow and he brings you down to his work rate, Albazi does, that I don't think he can handle the fireworks that Pantoja is going to bring in that fight if they do match up. And I think Pantoja just completely swarms him and just drowns him, right?
I agree.
And I think that'll be Pantoja's first fight of the year if Albazi gets past Moreno. I think he's down to fight twice. He's got like 10 kids. He's got to feed them kids. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
Manel Cap gets past. I think it's Manel's year, dude. And I think their first fight, Pantoja versus Manel, was very close. And if you look back at what the general consensus was at the end of that fight was, wow, that looked like Manel definitely could have won that fight, but he just thought he was already doing enough.
Yep.
And it's like, I think he learned from that because after that, he's out there starching dudes. And I think also Pantoja's in wars, dogfight. That shit catches up to you. It really, really does.
For sure. And he's been in a lot of dogfights recently, right?
That's all he's been doing.
Yeah. I'm mad at it. All right. So up next, we do have the men's bantamweight division. Will, who is your pick?
I think so. We got Sean O'Malley. I should have worn my O'Malley tie-dye shirt. O'Malley is fighting Chito Vera in March 9th. A very good fight, a rematch. A lot of booked fights right now in the top like 10 of bantamweight, which is good. You love to see it because Aljo's up there now fighting Calvin Kattar. We got Piotr Jan versus Song Yadong. We got Sanhagen, who's supposed to be fighting Nurmagomedov. It's not booked yet, but that's the rumblings. But the big one is Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. I think Merab beats Henry Cejudo, and I think despite Chito Vera's success, despite O'Malley's rise to the top and beating Piotr Jan, that it wasn't controversial at all. Everybody agreed. And then he knocks out Aljo, and it wasn't a late stoppage. Everybody agrees it was a good stoppage. Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera, no matter who is at the top, when Merab beats Henry Cejudo, Merab's going to drown him, and he's going to be champ. It's finally his time. Merab Dvalishvili.
Will, I like your pick. I do. Because I also picked Merab Dvalishvili. Now, he has already taken O'Malley's jacket.
Yeah,
now,
the jacket picture.
He's coming for the belt from O'Malley. Now, I'm with you, right?
From George.
I think I could see Chito Vera possibly beating O'Malley. I think it's a real possibility.
Yeah, I mean, he already did once.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether it's O'Malley, doesn't matter whether it's Chito. There's nobody in this division that can keep up with Merab's cardio, his nonstop pressure. He drowns people, right? We're going to see Henry Cejudo, somebody who is a two-weight division champ. He's also a gold medalist. That's why they call him Triple C. And so when you probably haven't heard.
It's crazy. They never bring that up.
Never. But when Rob goes through and does what I think he can do to Henry and make him look like he shouldn't even be amongst the top of the division, I think it's just going to catapult Merab. And plus, his boy Aljamain Sterling is no longer in the division. That's the only reason Merab hasn't gotten the title right now. The only thing that was holding Merab back was Aljamain being there because they've said they would never fight each other. Or else he'd already be champion. He would be champion right now if it weren't for that. But after this year, or during this year when he wins the title, and after this year, we're going to see the reign of Merab Dvalishvili for the next few years, I think.
Yeah, Ganskow says O'Malley beats Chito, then doesn't fight again for the rest of the year to do something else. I could see an interim belt introduced at some time. That's not a bad pick.
Hey, Ganskow, very similar to with me with my pick with Alexa Grasso, right? I picked Alexa Grasso due to inactivity, right? Like I feel like she's going to defend the belt once, but for some reason, something in my gut, right, is telling me, hey, pick Alexa Grasso due to inactivity. I like that pick, Ganskow.
Yeah. George says, man, imagine if Triple C upsets Merab. I think the hardest fight in the near future for Merab is the one he has booked. I think Henry is the hardest fight for Merab. That could throw a wrench in the entire thing for me. That being said, Henry's also, he was inactive for so long. I just don't know if he can keep with the pace, which sounds crazy because he's a wrestler by nature, but the Merab pace is so nuts. And MMA grappling is different than Olympic wrestling. And, you know, Aljo already beat Cejudo, and Merab's training with Aljo. I think he can beat Cejudo. That's the biggest thing is like, if he does beat him, he's a champ. He'll be the champ. But that's the toughest part of this prediction for me is if he beats Cejudo. It really is because they're both such good grapplers, you know.
How good would it be when Merab fights for the title? And let's say O'Malley still has a belt, that he walks out to the octagon with the jacket on. How good would that be, dude?
That would be good.
That'd be amazing, right? Great call from Ganskow.
Henry is also 36. Yeah, if you guys don't know the hot stat, which is very interesting in all time UFC history, below middleweight, so welterweight and lower, fighters in title shots who are 35 and older are 1-32, I believe, is the record for fighters 35 and up. Hey, shout out Josh. Happy New Year's. Story of the Fight Brothers.
I'm glad Josh hopped on because I'm going to reference Josh later on in the podcast. I was hoping he'd hop on.
Look at that teaser.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to what are we at? Men's featherweights.
Men's featherweight, yeah.
This one has been a lock for me for years.
Ooh.
And this time is the first time there's a little bit of doubt in that lock. I'm still going with my boy Volkanovski. Uh, he is so goddamn good. He's booked against Ilya Topuria in February. I think everybody's like, oh, Ilya is going to be the next champ. He's the guy to beat Volk. He's the guy to beat Volk. I don't necessarily think so. I think it's possible, but there's things that we have not seen from Topuria that I just don't. I can't confidently pick him, and there's plenty of things I've seen in Volkanovski that let me confidently pick him. Ilya Topuria, everyone's like, look what he did to Josh Emmett. Most people do that to Josh Emmett.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's not.
If you don't get caught with a big right,
You're gonna
you
win.
could do that to Josh Emmett. Yeah.
You're gonna win unless you're
No
Calvin Kattar and you
disrespect.
get
Love you,
robbed.
Josh Emmett.
Yeah, no disrespect. I love the guy. It's a very fun action fighter. That being said, Josh Emmett refuses to adapt mid-fight. He looks for that right hand. He looks for the shuffle into the right hand over and over and over again.
Can you
And there
blame
was
him,
things.
dude? When you can do
Very
what
good.
you can to like Bryce Mitchell, like
Yeah,
what he did
it's
to
very
him, like
good.
I would want to do that too.
Oh yeah, 100%. But you see Ilya Topuria stay behind the jab, stay behind his shoulder, fight in front of his over his feet, and just stick him and move it. And that was well and good. But he was able to do that because of a stationary target that he only had one thing to worry about, and that's all he had to worry about. Keith goes to Topuria. I think Ganskow also goes to Topuria. He's on the hype train. He's very good.
Nice.
But, and like I said, he could be the guy. And Volk will be over 35 when they fight, and that's the whole stat, right? If anybody's the exception to that, I think Volk would be. He's so great. But I just haven't seen what I have seen. And can you pull that picture up real quick, Rich? The Volkanovski one. What I have seen from Volkanovski is his ability to make reads and adjustments mid-fight and from fight to fight, depending on his opponent. This counter shot here that he lands on Yair, he baited that kick from Yair early in the fight, and he set up the right hand off of it, and then he baited it again to land it again. Like he's so cerebral, and he's so good at implementing game plans and adjusting the game plan. Man. And we haven't, and this is not a knock on Ilya because nobody has forced him to, but I just don't know if he can do that on the fly at the high level that Volk can. And I think that will be the difference maker until, and we need a fight like this to know, because I know Volk will adapt mid-fight, and it's up to Ilya to adapt in response to that. And maybe he can, but we haven't seen him have to yet. So because of that, I can't pick Ilya. That being said, I'm picking Volk, but I think this might be the year that he gets dethroned. I just don't know by who. I think he gets through Ilya, and I don't know what's next from after that. But I couldn't see. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the year he gets dethroned at featherweight. But I got to go with my guy because looking at it after Ilya, I don't think Yair beats him. I don't think Max beats him. I don't think Arnold Allen beats him. So it's like I don't know who would be the guy to dethrone him, but this might be the year. But I don't think
Ganskow says Topuria kept mauling my favorite fighters, earned my respect, and became my favorite fighter. You know what's so funny about that, Ganskow? That's exactly how I felt about Volk.
Yeah.
Because fighting Max Holloway, fighting all these other fighters, like he was fighting a lot of my favorite fighters and just dismantling them, earning my respect. Now Volk is one of my favorite fighters, right? So it's so funny how that happens.
Hey, changing the guard, dude. That might be a sign.
Man. I love it. I love it. Well, Will, let me tell you who my pick is at featherweight. I have Ilya Topuria to lose against Volkanovski. So check this out. You like what I did there? A little trickery. So, look, man, this might be wishful thinking on my end, right? I just mentioned the fact that Volk is now one of my favorite fighters as well, due to the fact that he's dismantled a lot of my other favorite fighters. He's on the last chapters of his career. He's coming off a big KO loss to Islam. And a lot of people say, hey, when you get knocked out like that, that takes something from you. Ilya Topuria, he's the young lion. He's coming in undefeated. But I'm still thinking that Volkanovski proves people wrong and shows that the KO loss was a fluke. Like, he's human. Anybody can get caught, right? Islam is one of the best fighters in all of mixed martial arts right now.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Richard Casual, but I believe this is his favorite fighter overall, right?
Yeah, I think so.
This might be the only fighter that when he sees his picture without the name underneath, he knows that's Volk. I think that's it. The other day we showed a picture, right, of no, I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say Francis Ngannou, but it was the wrong person. But so look, check it out. Give me Volkanovski. I still think that he has one more good year left in him.
Yeah, I
One
can
more
see
good
that.
year left in him. And I think that next year is the year that he's dethroned. And you talk about his IQ, and I've seen what Henry Cejudo has been able to do with his IQ outside of the octagon,
Yeah.
training a lot of these fighters. I could so see Volkanovski's next chapter of his career being coaching. Like he's
Oh
that
yeah.
cerebral, and his fight level, his fight IQ is that high level that I think that he can pass so much on to the new generation, right? So I think we're going to continue seeing Volk in some way, shape, or form in mixed martial arts for a long time to come.
Yeah, I could see that. I also think I just don't know the Josh Emmett fight. Like I said, it was very good and it was a very solid game plan from Ilya. But there was things that I was like, being the armchair quarterback, right at home watching that, I was like, leg kick.
Armchair
He's so heavy on
quarterback. I
his knees.
like
They
that.
throw kicks. It'll set up all these things. Like there were so many things that Josh Emmett could have done that I know Volk will do, and I don't know if Ilya can change that. Key says Volk has the sympathy, respect vote, LOL. But lightweight, I've got Arman Saryukian against the Islam hype train, LOL. Well, with that, we can move
Ooh.
on. We could move
Yeah.
to
We got the
men's
men's
lightweight.
lightweight division night next. Yeah.
Yeah, very good division. So let's see. We
Hey, by
got
the way, so far we've been going through and making these picks. When I was going through and just taking taking a look at the bantamweight division, I was saying to myself, "Oh my god!" Like
yeah, it's
1
crazy, dude.
through 8 is absolutely insane. And I
Yeah,
know
it
that we used
really
to say
is.
the exact same thing about the lightweight division, but you
Mhm.
have some of the older folks there, right? That like
Yeah,
have been lingering
the old
around.
guard are hanging on.
The bantamweight has to be the best division right now in the
Shark
UFC,
Tank. Shark Tank.
right?
It's insane.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. Ganscow says lightweight is the hardest division with all the random super fights that can materialize out of nowhere. Yeah, they're talking about Islam going up and fighting Leon. Like Volk he still hasn't defended his belt against a lightweight. He's only defended it against Volk twice. Not to his fault. Like, he was supposed to defend it against Charles, but
But he did beat a lightweight for the belt.
he did beat a lightweight for the belt. Yeah.
One of the best.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, we got Islam Makhachev is the champ. Oliveira is number 1. Gaethje's number 2. Dustin's at 3. Saryukin's creeping up there finally at 4. Michael Chandler's 5. So that's the top 5. Um, Gamrot is booked against RDA, which is crazy because RDA has been holding on to that ranking despite fighting in welterweight. Other than that, there's really no fights booked. They're talking about Dariush versus Saryukin. If you beat Dariush, does that give you a title shot now? I don't know because he's lost a couple times now. He might need to get one more in there. Maybe if Armin wins against Benil, he fights one more time against someone like Dustin or like someone at the top there, and then he might get a title shot if he wins that. But now we're talking about 3 title fights, and I don't think we're getting 3. I think we're only getting 2 out of Islam. He's talking about he wants to fight
That's a good
before
prediction.
Ramadan.
Yeah.
He wants to fight before Ramadan, and then they're probably going to hold him off until they go back to Dubai or something like that. I think we only get 2, and I think those 2 are going to be Gaethje and Charles Oliveira, and I think Islam beats both of them. I don't know which one they'll do first because they're talking about Oliveira running it
What a
back because he was supposed to
picture.
fight him. Yeah, one of the best of the year last year.
Yeah, for anybody just listening, please, you got to join us on YouTube because the pictures that we share sometimes give me chills, right? It's
Yeah,
that good.
it's
Yeah.
good stuff. But yeah, I think,
Ah,
they're talking about Gaethje got the title shot off of knocking out Dustin. He was supposed to be next after Oliveira. Oliveira had to pull out of his fight. So it's like, do they do that one first? Do they do Gaethje? And they're still talking about it. I think he maybe is going to fight before Ramadan. I'm not sure, though. He clearly wants to, and I don't know what they're doing. But I think he beats Gaethje. I think he beats Oliveira again. Um, I just don't see either of those guys putting it together in a way that he could be beat. I think the only guy who can give him real trouble at lightweight is Armin, but I don't think that fight's happening this year. That might be a 2025. Ganskow says Islam is my pick. His striking is just as good as his wrestling. Who beats this monster? No one. Yeah, like I said, Armin is the only guy I think who can give him a competitive fight. But I don't know if he actually wins that fight. The first fight was incredible, fantastic fight, but clearly Islam has grown. Armin's grown. Who has grown more? I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So for men's lightweight, I have Islam Makhachev as
Yeah.
well. So listen, Khabib since day one has been saying, "Hey, this fighter is better than me, right?
Mhm.
This guy is better than me. He's just as good at wrestling and a better striker." DC's been saying that, right? Everybody coming out of AKA saying that.
Yeah.
He goes from taking pictures at Ross with Josh
Yeah.
to going on a 13-fight win streak,
I
right?
hope
He
Josh is
beats
still on the stream.
Charles the Bronx Oliveira for the belt and then defends it twice against Volk. Sure, Volk is not a true lightweight, but Volk is one of the best fighters in all of mixed martial arts right now. One of the best pound-for-pound fighters in all of mixed martial arts. So I don't want to downplay that either, right? Because that first fight was actually pretty close.
It was yeah. I mean, I had Islam winning clearly, but it was still very good. Shout out Poatan, nah, bro. Wait till Patty hits his prime.
Poatan. Hey, what? We have the Poatan on with us right now? Fantastic,
like my
man.
picks later
we
on.
have Pineda on with us.
Yeah.
So I like that, by the way. He's going straight with his boy Patty Pimblett. I don't know if he's going to be competing for any belts, but I think that we're going to start seeing an increase in competition for Patty the Baddie. We'll see how that goes. He looked pretty good in his last fight. But listen, he's in a very dangerous division. To Ganskow's point, this division is one of the hardest to predict because this is the division where there's so many fights that are made based off popularity. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say that Conor comes out and absolutely starches Chandler. There's a chance that he could actually be fighting for the belt against Islam. You don't think so?
Not at 155.
You don't think they would ever book it?
I don't think Conor ever wants to go back to 155.
You think
Conor's going to put the work in to get a 155?
Man, I think that Conor has an ego that's so large, right? And he would be able to fight Khabib's boy, try to get some revenge, try to take the title back and say, I'm out.
I think he knows.
But my point is that I don't think that's out of the picture, right?
Oh, yeah,
I don't think that Dustin Poirier getting another shot is out of the picture. I don't think that Gaethje getting the shot is out of the picture. Like, there's so many folks that we schedule in this division based off of popularity, and then we'll give shots to based off popularity, that it's a very hard division to predict, man.
Well, Dana White, remember when they used to do those fighter conferences and stuff? And then, like, Kobe Bryant was there, I think, and he was like, you guys should all unionize. And the UFC was like, what the fuck? Get this guy out of here. But at one of those conferences, those summits or athlete summits or whatever they called them, Dana told Nate Quarry, yeah, we don't give title shots based off who deserves it or the rankings. It's all about what we can sell. Like, that's not a secret, So you're right. Like, anything could happen. And this division is a division with stars, right?
Ganskow says Conor would have to get off the sauce.
Not going to happen. I don't think. Look,
is USADA still here?
Yeah, no. But
give him all the sauce. He ain't getting off the sauce.
But if Conor came out and he called out Chandler like he did and said we're at 170, then maybe. The fact that he's like, we'll do it at 185 in June, I don't think he's fighting this year for a belt at 155. Keith says McRoids. Yeah, that's the new diet. But yeah, I think Islam's a good pick. I think he fights Gaethje and Oliveira this year. I think that's what happens. Potan says Anshul Jubilee becomes #1 contender by end of 2024. But what if he fights another dog? What if somebody barks at him again? I don't know if he can. I don't know. There's a wall there. There's a barrier. I don't know. Jubilee, I do like. He's a very clean, surgical fighter. But I don't know if he's got that dog in him.
Hey, but shout out to Poatan. Thank you for joining us as well. Make sure that you are submitting your picks along with us so that we can also see if you win a Story of the Fight mini belt at the end of the year.
If you missed the first part of the stream, these are the picks for every division. Whoever ends the year with the belt at each division, whoever gets the most picks correct gets a mini version of the Story of the Fight belt.
Oh, that thing's a beauty.
We'll recap at the end of the year. So yeah, make sure you get your picks in. We'll move on to welterweight.
Yes.
Men's welterweight. Right now, we got Leon Rocky Edwards against Bilal Muhammad at UFC 300. Right? That's pretty much all but confirmed. I like the fight. I actually really like the fight. We got who's ranked right now? We got Usman still at #1. We don't really know where he's at, though, if he's going to stay at welterweight or if he's going to be at middleweight. We got Bilal Muhammad at 2, getting a title shot finally. We got Shavkat Rakhmonov just got to #3. We got Gilbert Burns at 4. Gilbert Burns is fighting Jack Della Magdalena. So I think, realistically, if we're saying 2 or 3, right? Shout out Keith. Thanks for regulating the chat. Appreciate that. But we got, that's April. Leon versus Bilal is in April. Do you think Leon fights 3? If he wins, do you think he fights 3 times this year or 2?
2.
I think it's 2. And I think it's Bilal, and I think it's Shavkat Rakhmonov, and I got Shavkat He's taking some time off probably because he tore something in his ankle, but I think he's next. I don't know if they're going to have him fight again before a title shot. They might just say, fuck it. He just beat Wonderboy. Let's get him up there. Especially if Leon versus Bilal is not a very exciting fight. I think they're like, get Shavkat in now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he beats Bilal. And I think Leon versus Shavkat's a tough fight, but I think Shavkat can get it done. I do.
I like your
so
pick.
does Keith. Keith says Shavkat as well. I think Leon beats Bilal, and I think Shavkat takes him.
Poatan coming in with his pick.
Ian will wag the welterweight. Haters gonna hate, and he's fighting the guy in this picture, just not the right guy. He's fighting Jeff Neal in February. If he gets past Jeff Neal, he's close.
Hey, we're
He's
seeing the
close.
ascension of
Yeah.
Ian
Oh, he's
Gary. We
good.
are seeing the ascension. Yeah. So a good call there. Ganskow says Shavkat gets the belt from Leon. Who is Bilal? Look,
You can't remember
Ganskow, I
the name.
love you, man. That's fantastic. Can't remember the name, and that's why I went like this, right? Because for me, that's a
Yeah.
snoozer. And I'm not saying it's a snoozer because it's not a good matchup. I'm saying this because we've already seen this, and I don't think from that fight through what I've seen from Bilal Muhammad since he fought Leon Edwards, I don't see a different strategy. Now, granted, he might go up against Leon and say, "Hey, I'm going to have to change it up a little bit." He might,
Mhm.
but I don't think he's good enough to beat Leon Edwards. I don't want to see this fight again.
I'll say this. I know Bilal gets a lot of hate, and I think it's like now become kind of a joke to hate on him, and I think it's hilarious because I'll do it too. But credit where credit's due. He has not lost since 2019. Since then, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins against Gilbert Burns, Sean Brady, Vicente Luque, Wonderboy, Damian Maia. Like he's fighting these good guys. And if you look at it, Gilbert Burns, he didn't shoot one takedown, picked him apart on the feet. Against Sean Brady, not one takedown shot, and he TKOs him in the second round. Vicente Luque dragged him into deep waters, took him down over and over again. Stephen Thompson dragged him to deep waters, took him down over and over again. And what we see is when he fights a striker, he drags him to deep waters. When he fights a grappler, he beats the brakes off of him on the feet. It might not be crazy flashing knockouts, but the guy's output is very good. He's a workhorse. So the guy is changing things depending on the opponent. And the fact that he fought Leon already and got a feel of that, I think he does come in with a different game plan. Will it be enough to beat him? Probably not. I think Leon still beats him, but I am interested in the fight. This is a guy that has not lost in almost 10 fights.
Yeah, man.
That's
For me,
exciting
it
to
was
me.
just so lopsided what we did see between Leon Edwards
wasn't.
and Bilal Muhammad.
I
was
remember it
super
being very lopsided. I rewatched it. It really wasn't.
I'll
It
go back
really
and
wasn't.
rewatch it. I'll go back and rewatch it.
I remember it being Leon on the gas and just starching him with straight punches, a high kick in there, and was just beating the brakes off of him, and it was just like inevitable. Rewatching it, Leon was winning for sure, but it wasn't as dangerous as I remember it being. It wasn't. I don't know.
I'm
if
gonna
I'd say
watch it,
competitive, but
and I'm gonna put a comment on the video afterwards to say, hey, you're right. Rewatched it, and it was a lot closer than I thought. Or I'm gonna rewatch it and say, I don't know what you were smoking, Will, because it seems super lopsided.
I think the biggest part about it, though, for me, is the fact that Bilal has changed his game plan so much for his last 5 opponents, depending on who he's fighting, and the fact that he already fought Leon. I really think we're going to see a different approach from Bilal, and that, for me, is very interesting, and that's what I want out of title fights. The popularity contest stuff is fine sometimes, but I want an interesting matchup, and this has interesting aspects of it for me that I do actually really like the fight, and I'm glad it's happening.
So that being said, give me Shavkat Rakhmonov. Give me Shavkat Rakhmonov, man. Look, check it out. Leon Edwards has already beaten Usman, right?
Yep.
Bilal Muhammad, for me, I don't think is a true threat to Leon Edwards. That leaves us with the division's boogeyman, the person that a lot of people have been trying to avoid fighting. And it's not just the fact that he's coming in 18-0, Will. He's coming in 18-0, finishing every single fight. He's won 10 wins by submission. He has 10 wins by submission, 8 by KO. Some would say that is pretty balanced.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't matter
Almost
what you want to do.
do.
And he's the best thing to come out of Kazakhstan since Borat. This guy is loved by so many. It's his time. It's his time. Put the boogeyman in there. Put him up against Leon Edwards. He's going to get the title. And after that, this division might become boring. It might become boring in the sense that he's going to clear out the division. We're going to say, what's next, man? Because he seems to have the perfect build for welterweight as well, right? You see some of these other champions sometimes, like let's say an Alex Pereira, right? And we're like, well, he beat Izzy, but he's going to have to go up eventually. He can only cut down from 220 pounds to 185 for so long. No, this is the perfect division for Shavkat Rakhmonov. So he's gonna win, and he's gonna keep the belt for quite some time. He's gonna be an easy lock for us years down the road when we're doing this podcast and doing this predictions episode.
I think so too. And if Leon beats Bilal and Shavkat, man, Leon starts to be considered very highly. If he can get past Usman twice back to back, Colby, Bilal, and then Shavkat, that's a very good resume as a champion. Very good.
For me, now separates you from a lot of the other previous champions and puts you up there with like an Usman, for example.
Yeah, not quite GSP yet, but
not yet. Hey, let's slow down, okay, dude?
Hey, the UFC was marketing, and they still market Usman as the welterweight GOAT, and it's like, what are we doing here?
Let's pump the brakes.
Yeah, but let's put the foot back on the gas and move up to middleweight. We got middleweight's an interesting one because we got the champ that everybody picked, Sean Strickland. He's fighting Dricus du Plessis in January, but is he? I don't know. The word in the WhatsApp groups are that Strickland's got a nasty case of staph on his hip, and we don't know if the fight's happening because it's only in 2 weeks.
They think it's staph. It was actually fireworks from when he had that firework fight. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Did you see that video?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I hope it's fireworks. It's not looking good, man. Ganska says, I'm gambling and going all in on Allen. Ooh, if it's similar to Strickland in 24, an underdog rise. He probably gets it done by rear naked choke. Like
all in on Allen. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Allen is kind of a dark horse a little bit right now at middleweight. But you know who was a dark horse for a long time that took me a long time to get on the train? Dricus du Plessis. But that being said, I think he beats Sean Strickland in a couple weeks because I don't think that defense is going to hold up against someone who just Donkey Kong barrels through it with no regard like Dricus du Plessis does. I don't know. The mechanics aren't sound. The game plans are very good, though. It's just it doesn't look like it should work, but it does. And I don't think that mummy guard, the marching step, I don't think that's going to work against someone like Dricus. I think Dricus barrels through Sean Strickland. I think he finishes him within 3 rounds.
The rematch.
Nope. I think if he beats Sean Strickland in January, I think they build Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. It's a massive fight. The African stuff that was going on between them, South Africa. He's saying he's the only real African champ. Izzy took that personally. Izzy said that he's out until 2027. Then he said, just kidding, guys. And he's out there bulking up. He looks big. And everyone's like, he's going to light heavyweight. And maybe he is to fight Alex Pereira. But I don't think so. I think he's waiting to see what happens with Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. And I think they do that fight eventually this year, Izzy versus du Plessis, if he beats him. If he beats Sean Strickland. But I think Izzy's coming back and he'll fight Dricus du Plessis. And I think he's a very bad matchup for Dricus. And I think he ends the year with the belt to become a 3-time middleweight champ, I believe.
Nice.
Give me Israel Adesanya.
Nice. And when I said the rematch, I meant the rematch between Dricus and Sean Strickland that's going on now because their first matchup was in the stands. And Sean Strickland has one up right now on Dricus du Plessis. So
it was a no contest. He bit him.
Oh, dang, dude. That's messed up.
He bit him.
So
Poatan says Israel Adesanya. Wow. Coming from Alex Pereira, that means
himself.
Something.
Alex Pereira himself. Holy smokes. Yeah. And Poatan, I apologize for showing this picture as the choice for Izzy. But look, I picked Izzy as well. So this is going to be a quick one, right? All the points you hit on are the exact same points. I almost feel like you took a look at my – yeah, I almost feel like you took a look at
right after.
I always feel like you took a look at my notes because same thing. Dricus goes through Strickland. Izzy was absolutely not serious when he said, see you in 2027. He's going to see an opportunity to come back and take the belt from somebody that he has previous beef with right?
how you get a title shot.
Yeah. And also for him, I think that stylistically, he's going to think it's a good opportunity for me to come back. And even if he doesn't want to continue fighting for 2 or 3 years, I think he sees this as an opportunity to get the belt back easily. And then after that, if he wants to ride off into the sunset, he can, right? Go buy another McLaren, go chill at home and watch your boys fight,
Because
I think Izzy ends it with the belt.
Yeah, because I do think most people would say Izzy probably needs to get a fight in before another title shot, but I don't think he will if it's Dricus. If Dricus has the belt, I don't think he does need to fight again. I think the UFC will see that as a nice little beef, some drama they can sell, a nice pay-per-view card.
Ganscow says Alex and Izzy will fight light heavyweight at 300. Can you imagine?
A lot of people are thinking that's happening. We'll see.
Can you imagine? Take my money.
Yeah.
Take my money right now. Look. UFC, let's move Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards out. Okay, put it UFC 301. Okay.
Wait, why can't you just do both?
No. You know why? Because you're gonna give me Moreno versus Pantoja again, or Moreno versus versus Davison Figueiredo again. Give me a Grasso versus Shevchenko again.
Bantamweight?
I don't care. Just let them fight every freaking weekend. Whenever those people fight, dude.
True.
Take my money. You want to make an entertaining card or not?
I think that's what people are like. I think some people's expectations of UFC 300 are so crazy, right? That they're like, oh, we need this fight. But it's like, if you look back at like 200, the main event was Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes. That was the main event of UFC 200. And all the other fights, we had Lesnar versus Mark Hunt as the co-main, no belt on the line. We had, was it Aldo versus Frankie Edgar for the interim belt. We had DC was supposed to be fighting John Jones, that fell through, so he fights Anderson Silva. No belt on the line. So like, it's big fights, but it's not necessarily rankings wise the most sense fights,
Yep.
So I think, Moreno versus Figueiredo, I don't think that's happening, but he's fighting Obazi,
toss him
right?
my way, please.
But stuff like that, I think, is more
pay-per-view.
Izzy versus Alex is a good shout. I think that might happen.
Hey, let me ask you this,
I think
Will.
it's a good move.
Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, fight 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
How many times does Moreno win?
7.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I like it.
7. Ganscow says best combat sports rivalry of all time. It has to be made. I think Alex will be on 300. They've been quiet about it. I think right now the only title fight is Bilal versus Leon. I think that's either going to be the co-main or the feature bout. I think there might be, if they do a light heavyweight title, that'll be the co-main. I think they're really trying to get Aspinall to defend his belt for the main event. I just don't know if that happens, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know where I'm going with that.
By the way, Maynard Edgar, Iceman versus Tito Ortiz, John Jones versus DC. These are all really, really good rivalries too.
Yeah.
But yeah, real. Absolutely. Izzy,
real.
Who? DC versus John Jones?
No, all those ones you just named felt like real, actual hatred of each other.
Absolutely. So right now, when Ganscow mentioned that rivalry, it just got me thinking of all these other awesome rivalries that we've seen in the past, right? So nice call out there. All right, we're moving on to light heavyweight.
Ganscow says if Aspinall has to defend, Jones should be stripped. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily. I think the biggest thing isn't necessarily for me Aspinall defending the interim belt, because that's essentially what the interim belt is, right? While the champ's away, that is the champion. So I'm fine with them defending. What I don't like is them saying that John's going to fight Stipe instead of unifying the belt. If you have an interim title holder and a champion then fights somebody else while that guy has the interim belt, in my opinion, that's the big no-no. Right?
You know who else doesn't like that?
Aspinall.
Yeah, he's been very open about that. So much so that Stipe replied, was like, "Hey, dude, my bad. Okay, like I never pulled out of the John Jones fight. By the way, he said I haven't delayed that John Jones fight, but after I beat John, we can unify." And I was like, "Yeah, that's legit."
It's very cool to say.
If you're Aspinall though, and somebody like Stipe tells you that, I'd be like, "You're right, sir. I'm sorry."
I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
heavyweight goat. You're right. All right.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight.
UFC heavyweight. So we'll go light heavyweight. Alex Pereira is the champ right now. I think there's a very good chance that he does fight Izzy at 300. I would not be surprised if that happens. But we do have Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker in a week. And I think he's going to beat Johnny Walker. And I think he's going to get a title shot. And I think
Oh.
if he's fighting Alex Pereira, I think he beats Alex. And I think Ankalaev ends the year with the belt because light heavyweight moves very slow. You have Yezri's fighting Rakic on 300. That's a very good fight, a fight that will get, I think, either of them a title fight, whoever wins, but I think they'll be behind Ankalaev. And I don't know if Ankalaev wins the belt and defends it this year. I don't think that happens. So I'm going to go, and they're talking about Jamal Hill is going to fight Alex when he comes back. I don't know what that time, the dude ruptured his Achilles. He's out there fighting his brother. He's like 300 pounds right now. I don't think he's fighting anytime soon. I think Alex will have to defend his belt before Hill comes back. And if it's against Ankalaev, that's a big if, but if it's against Ankalaev, I think Ankalaev really takes out his grappling and wins.
Okay. I can see that happening.
Ganskow says light heavyweight is Poatan. He sleeps Ankalaev with the knee as he shoots. He's very good.
I like that.
Good. It's hard to pick against him, but because he's done so much. Poatan wrestles like I like how Poatan is in the comments talking in the third person.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, shout out, right? Shout out to Pereira there. All right. No disrespect to you, Mr. Poatan, but light heavyweight, I do not have Poatan ending the year with the belt. I have Mr. Yezri Prochazka.
That's the boy.
So I think that they'll get a fight in early for Poatan early next year. I don't care who it is. I think Poatan has a chance to knock anybody out. Okay, just like Ganskow had mentioned, whether it's Ankalaev, anybody. But I think Yezri gets past Alexander Rakic.
Yeah.
And then we set up a big rematch. This would be a huge rematch. Poatan versus Yezri.
I want that.
And Yezri learns from his previous mistakes, is able to weather the storm, and ends the year as a champ, and then goes back to submerge himself in the ocean to have the best meditation. That's like sensory deprivation tanks? That's the ultimate sensory deprivation tank. Yezri just skips the tiny tank and goes straight down to the bottom of the ocean. Look at him.
And then he goes up. He's like climbing glaciers in like Iceland and shit. It's like the guy's everywhere.
Below sea level?
True nomad.
High sea level? Doesn't matter, dude. This samurai is ready to go at any point in time.
Awesome.
By the way, that tree stump he's sitting on, word on the streets is that was one of the tallest trees back in Czechoslovakia, and he actually chopped it down with his hand before he sat on the stump. So I'm just saying, this guy's a beast. This guy's a beast. Give me Yezri Prochazka.
I hope. Look, I pick Ankalaev, but I hope it's Yezri. That's my fucking boy. We got the signed glove, Yezri's the boy.
Yeah.
I hope he wins. I hope he gets it, but I just don't know.
All right.
Last
one.
Yeah.
Heavyweight.
The baddest man on the planet. Look, we all know heavyweight's an absolute shit show right now. John Jones has the belt. He was supposed to fight Stipe in November? And he was supposed to fight Stipe in November. He tears his pec. Tom Aspinall gets off the couch on like 2 weeks' notice, whatever it was, starches Sergey Pavlovich, the scariest puncher in the division, and gets the interim belt. But then they're like, no, John Jones, when he comes back, he's still fighting Stipe, regardless of the interim belt. And I think that's horseshit. But I think what happens is Aspinall is going to have to defend that interim belt against somebody. Cyril Gane, maybe. Curtis Blades, maybe. Jailton Almeida, maybe, depending on how that fight goes between them. I think it's one of those three. I think he beats all three of them. I think Jailton is a little too young at heavyweight to beat someone like Aspinall right now. I think Aspinall defends the belt against one of those three. I think John Jones fights Stipe. If that happens, John Jones wins and then retires, and Tom becomes the unified, undisputed champion of the division. And I got to go with my boy Tommy Aspinall.
Well, that's an excellent pick.
Same as Ganskow. Ganskow says heavyweight. I got Aspinall. Jones and Stipe don't want that smoke and both retire like Herman and Cummings. Tom is promoted to undisputed. Yeah, come on.
I like it. You know what? And I also go Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall, my 2023 Fighter of the Year. That was my pick, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people laughed at me. They scoffed at my pick. But I say no. I stick behind it. Give me Tommy Aspinall, okay? He's a nightmare for anybody. He's a matchup nightmare for anybody. And, I know I'm going to hear some people, right, that say, well, what about Jailton Almeida? He's big and moves like a middleweight too. blah, blah, blah. Okay. Tom Aspinall is one of the most well-rounded fighters in all of mixed martial arts. Okay. He's a true heavyweight. Okay. Jolton Almeida, maybe weighing in at 212, 215.
He's not a light
He's
heavyweight.
solid. Yeah. But Tom Aspinall, what, weighing in 225, 230? And he's still moving that way. He carries that power. He's a very legitimate black belt in jiu-jitsu. Okay. His striking game, super crisp, fundamentally sound, dude. I don't care who you throw up against Tommy Aspinall. That's what I call him. He has a nickname for me too. But Tommy will be able to hold on to that belt for years to come. Give me Tommy Aspinall, dude. Ending the year with the belt.
Yeah, so Tom has been weighing in at 260. Jolton Almeida has been weighing in at 235 for his previous
Oh, okay,
bouts.
so it was the other way. So he's 235, but Tommy's actually 260.
Yeah.
Dude, and just think about how he freaking moves at 260.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
crazy.
Unbelievable, man. This guy's a freak of nature. So much so that sometimes his body's like, can't do that, can't move like that. Here goes the ACL. But
hey man, you're 260.
Yeah. Dude, he's built like a freaking truck,
good.
Man. He's fantastic. He since the beginning, we watched his first fights in the UFC, and we were in awe of this guy.
Yeah, we were.
Right? So give me Tommy Aspinall.
Yeah. I like
that. Was it. That was all of our picks.
That's every division.
Every division, man.
So yeah,
this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always so much fun. And like we said, these are the people we think are going to end the year with the belt at each division. This year, or 2023, I lost the belt to Ramiro, so I'll be shipping this his way. Regen is getting a belt for his picks of 2023. So make sure you submit your picks either in the live chat or in the comments after this, or DM us on Instagram. It's better if you put it in the comments here, but if you don't and we know who you are, we'll be reaching out probably to get your picks, because what is the first? Is it not this week, but next week is Strickland, right?
Yeah.
So we got,
as long as the health is there.
As long as the health is there, but we got Rocky. So we need picks before Pennington and Mayra Buena Silva start their walkout. Once they start their walkout, we are locked in. So is on.
We're closed. We're closed if that's the case.
That is January 20th. So we need picks by January 20th. And then that way, at the end of the year, we'll go through and see who got the most picks between me and Ramiro. We'll go through and see. We'll tally up the scores of all of the commented votes, the fan votes. And it's super fun. And then you get a belt out of it. And it's free.
Shout out Keith, George, Ganskow, Chester. Poatan joining us. I'm sure he's in the middle of training right now. And for him to join us live, that means a lot to me. Right? Who else did we have that hopped on? Do we have anybody else?
Josh, Coleslaw,
of course, dude. I hope he heard that reference.
Shout out Carlos jumping in right now saying, "Oi, hey Carlos, make sure you put your picks in on the comments. Put in your picks who you think is going to end the year with the belts, and then you can get a mini belt." Ganskow says, "I'll post on X." Ganskow's active on X, huh?
I love it.
Better at that. I'm not good at that.
We need to get better at social media in general, dude.
We're so bad at it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So bad at it. So again, this is your first time listening. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Goes a long way, man. Get a notification about. We should do more fight companions. It's always so much fun whenever we've done that.
I'm down. Just let me know. Hey, Poatan says, "Give me Tommy." Let's go.
Poatan,
make sure you comment. I want to see your picks for all the divisions. Make sure you comment. It doesn't have to be in the live chat. You can come back.
I'm surprised Poatan did not pick himself to be both the champion, light heavyweight and heavyweight, but that shows a lot of humility on his part. Great job, Poatan. But yeah, submit. And man, again, always a lot of fun when everybody hops on. You make this show so much better. So thank you so much. Where can they find us? Well, storyofthefight.com, is it, or something like that? Yeah,
storyofthefight.com. You'll see everything. You'll see the merch store. We can get the Story of the Fight shirt, the beanie, the hoodie, the other shirt. But yeah, Story of the Fight everywhere. TikTok, Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Threads, X now, not Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Breaker, all that stuff.
I'm so looking forward to this year, though. This year's going to be so much fun with the podcast. Think about the years that we've had going on.
I would like to say shout out to everybody for tuning in and stuff. Keith says do more fight companions. I do love the fight companions. Last year we started the year with like 1,800 subscribers. Right now we're at 9,800, which is pretty fucking cool that we've gone up that many subscribers this year. So it's been cool. It's been a cool year. I think next year it's going to extrapolate even further. I think it's exponential growth. I think if we do fight companions, things like that, we get more interaction with you guys. I think it's a cool community that we have. I think everybody who's
yeah.
a regular here is just super fucking cool. It's very fun doing all this.
Yeah. And, Keith says do more fight companions. We talked about doing more shorts just around any breaking news that might come out. So like we're coming up with different ideas to try to, create more interaction with the listeners as well. So if you could think of anything else, just message us. Shoot it out our way.
Yeah.
We'll take everything into consideration.
Instagram's probably the best way to get to us. Story of the Fight on Instagram. I think that's probably the best, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Do us a favor in the chat. Give Rich the Casual, our producer, one solid reason why he should start watching fights with us. And maybe next year, he goes through and puts his own picks in as well. So
come on, dude.
Oh my, look at that.
It's gonna be all blurry, but come on.
Story of the Fight pillow.
My grandma stitched this, dude. Come on.
Dude, that's sick.
I can't. It's blurry. Oh, look at that. I was gonna put it. I forgot to put it on the end of the year show, but come on, dude.
Keith saying Ramiro needs to find a bit of time instead of gaming. Hey, that's not me. You got me confused with Rich the Casual. Rich is the one that will pick gaming over watching any fights, unfortunately. So
yeah, and maybe that's what we do too. We gotta figure out the share play. Maybe we fight each other on UFC 5 or something. I don't know. But yeah, we should do more picks episodes, more fight companions, things like that. Those are so much fun. Keith says Story of the Fight pillows. Let's go.
Hell yeah, let's do it. All right. Hey, by the way, in case anybody's tuning in for the first time, they don't know, this show right here is actually produced by Richard Bustos, also known as Richard Casual. Hey, crowd goes wild, man.